Yeah. So when did the winter start for Samoa in terms of the waste stuff? Like, I
Association
know
was formed 2018, right?
Yeah, so we were
2018.
remember 2018 when I contacted you about our recycling facility.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it started. We were formed 2018, and
And who started it?
I'm one of the
She's a founding,
co-founders, and
Yeah.
together with I think it was like 2 other recycling companies, and then we had Bella from Sprep, and those that have what you call it, expertise on waste management, especially hazardous. So SWAMA, Samoa Recycling Waste Management Association, was formed to address problematic waste. And what problematic waste was, things like plastic, glass, electronics, or e-waste. That all this waste was going to the landfill. So
Low value.
and it was low value for us, because the reason why it may be valuable here in New Zealand or developed countries, but for Samoa or from the Pacific Island, it's considered as a low value. Reason being is because when we collect and we process it for export, by the time it reaches, say for example, New Zealand, like we'll spend more money on processing it, and
Then the returns.
then the returns. So it makes it a low value, and plus we don't have the the technology. We don't have the technology as developed countries that they have now, the facilities and all that to dismantle goods and stuff and we don't have the population. We don't have the volume to be able to set up our own recycling facilities in Samoa. So what we do is we try and just collect and ship out to those countries that can help us with recycling. So last year, and I think it was June, there's this big talk about plastic and plastic waste, and we had I think we had a lot of donors on board. They just contact us and they want to do projects on recycling plastic. So what we did is we sent out a container to Australia, and I think it was June last year.
June, yeah.
And
container of plastic.
Container of plastics
To go to Australia to get processed.
to get recycled into. So it was like a bottle to bottle. So we were collecting plastic bottles, the drinking water bottles. Right. And so I think it was like we did a 20-foot container. We vouched last year. Last year we vouched to collect 1 million bottles.
In Samoa.
In Samoa.
Yeah, it was a goal that we
goal.
put out in Samoa, that we would collect
1
million
million.
bottles.
And is this the kind of volume that needs to be shipped to be worth anything?
What's a fill of a 20-foot
container?
container?
Oh, yes.
And it was like what, 500?
It was roughly around about 500,000 bottles, plastic bottles, single-use plastic bottles. So because we didn't have that, because what we did was we got our first donor for the plastic was Coke Foundation. So Coke Foundation, they funded they funded the project they funded us so we could be able to make the recycling cages. And so what we did is we put it out in front of supermarkets, out in the public areas, the schools, and I think we got around about 50 something cages out in the public right now. And so even though we were collecting from, so the thing behind the supermarket is when you go to the supermarket, you not only grab your bag, but you also grab your recyclables. And we have, red cage in front of the supermarket for the aluminum cans. And we also had a blue cage for the plastic bottles. So you not only grab your bag from home, but you also grab your recyclables and you just come to empty it into the cages at the.
Try and be convenient, like a one-stop. On your way to do your shopping, you can drop it off, so it'd be convenient for people to do that.
Right. Yeah. So with the plastics that we were getting in from the, from our 52 stores the cages that we had out in the public, it wasn't enough to
nowhere near enough to fill a
container. So what we did is we did we made it like a competition with the schools.
So on Global Recycling Day, which is in March, to commemorate the 1 year of the association as well, we launched an anniversary of the association. We launched a school competition, And so it was like all the schools, had like 6 weeks to collect, as much plastics as you could, or plastics and aluminum cans. And so, and then we had like cash prizes, because that was the only way, like, to try and motivate everybody. You had to put in cash prizes. And I think first prize was like 3,000 tala, second prize was 2K, and then 1K. And then we had a whole bunch of consolation prizes. So it didn't matter whether you came first, second, or third, or whatever, even if you came sixth, seventh, everyone got a prize, like each school. And so it just sort of motivated the schools, to try and not only win the prizes, but, it was an educational thing where they would try and build it into the schools, where we're trying to educate the teachers. Like, it went like that. So the process was, if you entered your school, it was compulsory for your teachers to come and do like a workshop with us. So we would try and teach the teachers about the whole recycling process, and then hopefully they would filter it down to parents, and then filter to students, and then students take it home to their families, and then hopefully try and spark some sort of interest or education on recycling. And within that 6 weeks,
it was 6 weeks. We filled a container, 500,000
Man.
plastic bottles,
Just like that.
weeks.
It did.
Just involving the schools.
Yeah, just by
Involving
involving schools. Dude, Cams, we would be driving home, and you'd see kids on the road with their willy paelos, and some of them like with their, with the king ganga,
The sacks.
the sacks, and they're like on the road, they were like just picking up. Dude, there was no rubbish anywhere. Like, what a great initiative, right? And then the schools, we hear about Maris Boys School. They were going out to town, the markets, the seawalls.
Picking up
all of them picking up the trash and stuff. You know what I mean? It was such a great thing to see, because you'd see even on buses, and we would be like, dude, did you guys see that bus? You'd see like a parent or something, because adults carrying their garbage bags, like going to memoliate to the schools. Yeah, and because everybody, the communities rallied with their, try and get their schools to win. So everybody was like getting together, trying to get their schools to win. So they'd all go and drop off their plastics over there, which is really good. Like literally, you see them walking along the road, picking up all the plastics. You didn't even see any plastics anywhere, for that period of time anyway, which was really good. And then, and then it just from there, it just blew up. It was like this huge thing, and we got so much advertisement out of it, like, and then awareness. So much. It was great for advertising. It was really good, because then in turn, from that, we were able to secure more donors, and then and just create this bonds with the school. So hopefully it'll be something that it'll be ongoing for them every year, which is what we decided was going to be annual. And so Rena's already heading we're already heading the next project for this year, like the same competition. But then the lockdown hit. And anyway, so it's kind of like delayed, but it's still in process. And it's just one of the ways that we're able to try and get out there. But like with SWAMA, there's so many waste streams. We deal with like glass. And then one thing that's really cool about that, and I didn't even know about it too until I joined until I joined the association. UNDP's, we're in partnership with UNDP, working on collection of glass. You know how Coca-Cola switched from the glass bottle to plastic
In Samoa?
in Samoa?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't get it
wow.
anymore. And then so
Yeah.
all the Coca-Cola, all the Coke now we get is shipped in from Fiji, whereas we used to make it locally. And I always prided myself in like that Samoa had the best Coke. Like, it just does not taste the same. Like, we always had like it's Coke in Samoa always tastes better than overseas. That's what my opinion anyway. But we don't have that anymore.
Because then the Coca-Cola buy Vanima
Yeah.
ages ago? Or
No, they were
was it
always.
nice?
It's Samoa Brewery. It's technically called Samoa Breweries, and Coca-Cola is one of that's their biggest.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
remember, they do Vailima. They do Vailima. It's now called Samoa Breweries. They bought
Yeah.
Vailima Breweries.
So we don't have any more like the glass bottle of Coke
Yeah. So
wow.
anymore.
yeah.
Oh.
And
So-
then we also have, apart from the Coke, we have those, the international beers, like
Yeah.
that's coming in from
like Coors
overseas.
and Bud Light.
yeah.
Where
And then we
people
have
don't take those glass bottles.
Then
like,
we
can't
have
recycle
those,
it.
those bottles that you always drink vodka and Jim Beam and like all those glass. We even have people bringing in
'cause people just chuck it.
jazz and
Yeah,
whatnot.
jam.
So he can't recycle glass anymore. He can't recycle
No, what they
old
did.
bottles.
No, they didn't recycle. No, you
They-
can't. Remember how you used to be able to like
Mm.
everybody at their end of year parties, everybody go out,
Yeah.
all their kinifango, and then go and
Yeah.
sell it and get your free money, party money.
Yeah.
Now you can't do that anymore.
Your cigarettes.
There's no more. There's no more.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no more. There's no more of that. There's no
Oh.
more glass. So they
faded
faded it out.
Faded out
Phased-
glass.
Yeah,
And now
phased it
with
out, and now it's plastic.
Because I thought plastic was the hardest thing to recycle.
It is.
Like I know New Zealand, I think they stopped the place we take our plastics over. I think it's somewhere in Asia.
Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
stopped.
yeah.
They told us not to
to
send anymore,
yeah.
no more.
I
So
think
now we're
it-
just stockpiling it.
yeah. You guys are stockpiling.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
this was one of the news. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? To be honest, Cams is I think there was that time where they stopped. China stopped, but they didn't literally stop. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was more of the processing of the plastic, where what happened was China or Asian countries were just getting
Too much.
no, they were actually getting rubbish.
Oh, okay.
Like
Couldn't use
plastic
it.
and whatnot,
Oh,
inside the containers. So I think that's what happened. Well, I'm not sure, but I kind
Right.
of
Because it has to be
but at
pure.
the
eh?
time, because at the time we just started the association, and I can remember I got interviewed on one of the stations, and remember we just literally just started the association, and they're like, one of the questions was, so the effect, how does the ban on plastic to Asian countries like affect Samoa?
Yeah.
And me trying to, I was just newly into recycling. This is what I said, and I can remember. I think I was on freaking what was it? New Zealand Radio New Zealand. I
Yeah,
can't
Radio New
remember.
Zealand,
Yeah. I got interviewed, and this is me. I said, "Oh, well, that just does not affect Samoa at all because we throw our rubbish to the, like all the plastics goes to the landfill."
OMG.
But you know what? To be honest, that was the honest truth. That
Yeah,
was actually
yeah.
exactly what was happening.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. That's the whole reason why we set up this association, because, we wanted to divert this waste that is recyclable in other countries, New Zealand, Australia, whatnot, Asian countries. And we can collect and then we ship out to the countries. So right now the association is dealing with electronic waste, e-waste, right? Computers, and we're doing printers, and and right now we're at that point where we're like, we've got a lot of stockpile. We haven't yet scored ourselves a donor for the electronic waste, but we're still trying to look for someone that can
Knocking
help us.
on
But
doors.
the thing is, we've contacted the brands here, like Samsung, Panasonic, or if I see, what's his? Is it? Oh my gosh, again, Rico, is it? Yeah. Rico or something like that. At LG, they got Pusa Ices and microwaves and not that. Like here in New Zealand, I hear that they're taking, like in the developed countries, there's a take back. Like, these big brands are taking care of their,
Footprint.
their waste footprint. But when it comes to the islands,
I don't care.
like don't put it that way. But
Well, to be blunt,
They haven't actually.
Yeah.
There's nothing in place for that in the islands yet. And I think Marina's actually trying to reach out to them to try and get something rolling, to see if there's a way that they can work together.
yeah, if we can ship it back to be recycled, or if you're doing a take back here in New Zealand, then why can't we, at the end of the day, we're not manufacturing these products in Samoa.
Yeah, we can't. We have
Everything
no
is
use of it.
imported. Like, it's either coming in from Australia, New Zealand, or Asia, wherever, right? So if these brands are doing big take backs in the in big developed countries,
well,
or
why
they're
won't
doing-
they do it for Samoa?
why not Samoa?
or
But you know
any
what?
other
This is the
island?
question that we always get, and that's the they kind of put us off. They're like, for my, we're like, okay, we'll recycling, Samoa recycling, and you know what? SWAMA. So SWAMA for short is Samoa Recycling Waste Management. So SWAMA is one of the first recycling association in the whole Pacific. So Samoa is like on the map for recycling, because we have all these Pacific islands around us that actually, like, we're leading in recycling. So Samoa should be really proud of that.
Is this the volume these donors are worried about?
It's the volume.
Yeah.
It's the volume. They turn around and they're like, Okay, so
How much can you give us?
Yeah.
How many
How much?
containers?
And then not to that, and not then they go like this to us.
We're like, one.
They're like, okay, can you give us the serial number? Like, who's gonna go out there? Who's gonna go out there and take serial numbers? Like,
On every single
isn't
fridge.
that the
and
information that you get? You should have. Like, if you're exporting to a country,
They should already know what they're giving out.
like they should already know how much or what is the volume that is going to each country. And so so if you're a brand owner for electronic waste, and if you want to help the Pacific or help Samoa,
Reach out.
please reach out. We're on Facebook and Samoa Recycling Waste Management Association on Facebook. We also have an email where you can contact us on recycle@swama SRWMA.ws. Yeah, so just reach out and yeah, hopefully we can work together. I mean, Coke is one of the big companies that are also working with the association, and they're also like reaching out to the other Pacific Islands. And we hope with these big brands that are paving the way, we hope the other big brands will also come on board.
Follow suit.
Yeah, the other waste stream that the association is also dealing with is waste oil. So the engine oil and all that stuff. Yeah. So for the longest time, Samoa imports like 600,000, I think, or what it is, of liters on an annual base, right? But there's nothing coming out. And then the thing is, like, once you get your oil change for your car, then it's like, where does the oil go?
Where's the waste go?
But the thing is, remember, Samoa is like the majority, like we depend on our
Agriculture
and our ocean for the, we do a lot of fishing, we plant a lot of, and
So that's a risk for pollution.
It
right?
is.
Yeah, it's just, where are they dumping it? Like it has to go somewhere, right? And you don't see the average Joe like storing them in massive containers or barrels or whatever. So where is it going? It's most likely it's getting dumped in the rivers. It's getting dumped in your backyards. You know what I mean?
I don't know the science behind it, but what happens to that recycle? You can't recycle oil, eh?
No, you can't recycle oil, but what you can do is refine the oil and reuse the oil,
Oh, okay.
right? And so,
So there must be some places
there
in
is
the world that
But
do
then
that.
again, so what we're doing is we're collecting
Collecting.
stockpiles
Yeah.
in Samoa, and then now our next step is to try and export, like try and work with one of the countries to divert the waste oil, the stockpile, to get recycled. So we're working with a couple of companies here in Australia and New Zealand to try and see, and also Fiji, to try and see if we can get close the loop on the waste oil for now with the stockpile that we have in Samoa. But eventually down the line, the association has another project coming up with the waste oil where we can hopefully in the future we can refine oil and pilot a project in Samoa.
How much of a cost is it to get every island, all the other islands on board, and then bring everything to one place and then strip it
You
out?
know what? That is also in the pipelines. It's in the pipelines. That's a famous, word.
Yeah, it's in the pipelines.
It's in the pipelines.
Because
but
obviously the cost is going to be the shipping of all that stuff from each island to one
Yeah.
place and then ship again. Like,
So they've also tried to have a partnership, and it's called Wanataka.
Yeah.
And then they have like a shipping company, Swire.
Swire.
Swire. You heard of Swire?
Yeah.
Anyways, they're a shipping company, and then so they're trying to work with them, and they have done so in the past, where they've shipped for free as long as it's in the route that they normally take.
oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the islands, as long as it's in the route that they normally take, they'll ship it for free, which is really, really good, right?
It's really
a
good
massive
because
help.
it is a massive help. So if you're also tied up in one of those, shipping companies, you want to help Samoa out, help the Pacific out, get in contact, because we would like to see, because we're only restricted to, I think Swire's route is Pacific Islands, New Zealand, Australia, Asia, Singapore, Malaysia, and those countries. But whereas some of the hazardous waste, because that is what we deal with, is hazardous waste. We deal with is most of the market or the place that we would like to send to is like either Bangladesh or China or India and those places. But it's not covered under this rule. But and saying that, like, we're so thankful, for, and a big hands up to Swire for even like stepping in and trying to help the Pacific. I mean, that's a big thing, because that is one of the reasons why these like shipping or the cost of freight is really expensive, and without the help of or the assistance of Swire, we would have no choice but to dump at the landfill,
or just be sitting there.
Yeah.
Just be sitting stockpiles, just sitting there
because we
nowhere
can't
to go.
afford to ship it out. So
Yeah.
a big hands out, shout out to Swire for coming on board and helping the Pacific, because it's not only in Samoa but also the other Pacific Islands are also involved in that, where we can ship for free the low problematic or hazardous waste in Samoa. I mean, in the Pacific Islands. Yep. And I think
No, it's I mean, recycling as well. It's really interesting, man. If you've ever really like, I mean, it's not really a subject that people really talk about, right? Like, I mean, it's not something that you're just like, oh my gosh, did you guys do your recycling today? Like, no, you don't do that. But it's actually really interesting. Like, until I came on board, like I was gonna say earlier, I totally got sidetracked. But like, the glass bottle then gets broken down, like it gets crushed into like a really fine sand. Like, it literally gets crushed into sand, and like people's like, oh, you can touch it, you can feel it, and people are like, oh, aren't you gonna get cut? Like, you think you're gonna get glass shards?
yeah.
No, it doesn't. And like this glass sand, then we go from glass, we crush it into the sand, and then the sand gets used to do concrete and like make bricks, blocks, or like into another product, which is super cool, because then then there's like these opportunities to create funds, right? Like so that you can so it can be so the association can be sustained, right? And then like for example, bottle to bottle, like Rena mentioned, bottle to bottle with the plastics, like it's just like this bottle, it gets crushed down, it gets palletized, it gets shipped off, and then it gets like literally melted, or they extrude like the plastic, and then they make it into a new bottle. And then like there's so many different things that they can do with recycling these days, that it's super interesting, and that just people don't know about it. And the reason why, and they don't talk about it, they don't know about it, is because they never hear about it. Like, it's just something that you never know about. So I guess like I never really thought about it before too. Like, even in New Zealand, they have the recycling thing, and I was like, it's just really annoying, I'd rather just throw it in the trash rather than like separating,
Yeah.
segregating your trash. But